I think Twitch stream is good, and YouTube stream is good, and we should be good. Let's see if the chat will work now. No. That's confusing. I don't know why chat isn't working for YouTube. YouTube chat's not working, like not popping up. I don't know why. This is very weird. This is very, very weird. YouTube. Everything should be fine. It's just not working. Chat box isn't working for some reason. Hello. Why won't chat pop up? Chat box. And then it just won't pop up. The fuck? I'm so confused. Oh wait, there we go. Now it is. Okay. And then let's check Twitch. Yep, okay, all good. All right. Fucking sick. Got chat box to actually work. Love that. All right, we're good. Let's real quickie, let me close that door. Close that door. And then we're ready to go. We're ready to go. I'm going to start the TikTok stream in a second. I think I have everything hooked up properly to where people on YouTube, where the YouTube people will be able to, YouTube and Twitch people will be able to actually hear the people on TikTok. This is kind of a test stream, to be honest. TBH, kind of a test stream. To see if everything works properly. But fuck it, let's go live on TikTok. Let's see if everything's working right. I don't actually know. Oh yeah, I forgot. I don't have the multi-guest thing set up, or I don't have multi-guest unlocked on the phone version of TikTok, just on my computer. So we're gonna have to stream a few times and unlock it. It's so goofy. It's so fucking goofy that I don't have. Will you stream Borderlands 4 when it comes out? No, probably not. It's so goofy that I have everything, like, the way this shit works makes no sense. So, like, on my, how do I explain this? On the PC version of, like, TikTok Live Studio, I have everything unlocked. Like, I can do multi-guest, and I can do fucking I can do everything normal, like I always do on stream. Bring people up to talk and stuff. But on the, like, when I stream from my phone, I don't have any of it unlocked, and I actually have to go through and unlock it. It's not account-based, like you would think. Like, you would assume, you would think it'd be account-based, because that just makes sense. But it's not. It's, like, platform-based. If I use TikTok Live Studio to stream from my computer, I don't get to do any of the shit. But if I stream off my phone, or sorry, if I use TikTok Live Studio on my computer, I can do everything. But if I stream from my phone, I can't do it. It doesn't make sense until I unlock it. It's goofy. It makes no sense. It makes zero sense whatsoever. So we need to stream from the phone a few times to unlock all the stuff, which is unfortunate. What's the requirements right now? What are we at? Go live for 120 minutes and then go live on 7 separate days. Those are the two goals, or those are the two things. that I have to do. It's goofy. I know. It's goofy. I understand. I shouldn't have put the text above my head then, because now people can't even come up and debate. It's cringe. It's cringe. But either way, thank you all. Thank you all for hanging out in the live, even though we kind of can't do much at the moment. Can't bring people up to talk. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but we can go over some stuff. We can go over some new stuff, which we will do. I guess I could open up my Discord to where like people could come up and talk that way while we are limited on TikTok. But then I don't have the audio looped properly, so the TikTok people wouldn't be able to hear. So I guess that's probably not the best idea. How's it going, people in the live? How is the live doing today? How are you all? I should change. Can you change the background in the middle of stream? Is that a thing you're allowed to do? Will TikTok let me do that? Because I guess I should take the thing off, the like come talk if you disagree thing, since I actually can't even bring people up. Because of TikTok's dumbass rules. Dumbass rules! Am I allowed to change it? This is like the second time I've ever like gone live on TikTok off my phone. So I am like very unaware of where everything is. Dean figured out how to bring people up. Yeah, well, Dean's account should have the thing unlocked, right? You know what I mean? Like Dean streams every day from his phone. Like I think he does all his lives off his phone, right? Or am I tripping? We can't request, but you apparently can bring them. Oh, really? No shot. Even if I don't have the thing unlocked, I can like still pick. I can like pick a person and bring them up. Really? Okay. Let's see. Let's see if I can find out how to do that real quick. That would be good. That would be good. Should be able to change the background. I wonder. Oh, maybe right here. I think I might have found it. Yep. Gang. Nice. Okay. Now, okay, let's see now if I can figure out how to invite people in. Let's see if I can figure that out. Hey, thank you for the heart me. HG Nick. Oh, that's another thing. That's another thing I don't like as much about I definitely do not like that. Do not like as much about the like phone version of TikTok Live, like streaming, like going live on my phone, is that when you go live on like when you do use Live Studio on like on a PC, it has like there's like a whole separate tab that's just the gift history, so you can just see what people have. Like you can always see the like last gifts that have come in. On phone, when you're streaming on your phone, they just kind of come in and go. They just come and go. They just kind of come and go. So then it's really hard to like keep up. Like, you know what I mean? It's hard to, if someone sends a gift while you're in the middle of a conversation, it's really hard to like go back and be like, and thank them. It's not good. It's not as good. Yeah, I will say the like phone version of TikTok Live is much, much worse in my opinion. Hello, Carmi. How's it going? By the way, we are streaming on YouTube and Twitch right now too. If you guys want to go follow over there. The link is in my bio. If you're watching on TikTok, link is in bio for YouTube and Twitch. First time streaming on, not first time ever, but first time in like a really long time streaming on YouTube or Twitch. Definitely. And since we can't bring people up, well, I mean, I think I can't bring people up. Someone said I might be able to. Someone said there's a chance I'm able to. Really today, like the main thing today is I got to figure out like all the settings for phone, because I'm gonna start like doing my lives off my phone, but like yeah, I'm gonna start doing lives off my phone. So I just got to figure out what the differences are, where everything is on here versus on the PC version. That's pretty much the main goal. That's the main goal. I promise you ran into this problem and then found a workaround. I'm gonna try to find it. I'm searching right now. I'm digging through the settings. I'm gonna try to find it. If there is a solution, I will find it at some point. Nope. Nowhere in here. It's nowhere in here. you have requests turned off. I just don't have them unlocked yet. That's the problem. I don't have them unlocked yet because I haven't streamed. I haven't streamed from my phone on this account like at all. I haven't gone live on my phone at all on this account, so I still have to meet the requirements. What's it say? We have go live for 120 minutes total. I'm at 91 out of 120, so we need to be live for 30 more minutes, and then go live on 7 separate days. So we need to do that as well. I should have thought about that before. I should have thought about that like ahead of time. Like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna have met the requirements on phone. But in my defense, the reason you don't think about that is because it's fucking stupid. It's dumb. It makes no sense why the requirements would be different on phone versus PC. Like if I open up, I could open it up and show you. Like if I open up TikTok Live Studio on my PC right now, I can bring people up. I mean, you guys know that I do it every day. Like you have to have more followers too, not to bring up guests. I think to have other hosts, you do. Actually, I don't think so because I got the notification the other day that I unlocked that feature. It should be the same. It should be, but it's not. On that, whenever I stream from my computer, I have access to do all that stuff. But then like I try to stream on my phone, it's like nope. You actually have to meet all the requirements again. Sucks to suck. It's so stupid. It's dumb. It doesn't make sense. But, I mean, I can't really do anything about it. I just kind of have to meet the, I kind of just have to meet the requirements on phone. Although, so we can't bring people up today. We can talk about some stuff. Yo, what's up, Haley Ray? How's it going on YouTube? How is it going? Yeah, I can't bring people up to talk today, which is unfortunate until I meet the requirements. We really just need to be live for like 30 minutes, so we'll do that. We'll just be live for 30 minutes. Should I just do the live for 30 minutes on my phone to meet the requirement and then switch over to my computer so we can actually bring some people up to talk? Maybe I should do that. Maybe that's not the worst idea in the world. Like I do need to like meet the requirements on phone, so I unlock that feature. But I do want to like talk to people today, right? So we should just hang out for a little bit, get the requirements done, and then we'll switch over so we can actually talk to some people. I think we'll do it like that. Yeah, I think we'll do something like that because I do want to talk to some people today. Have some convos, you know what I'm saying? But while we're waiting, while we're just kind of hanging out till we meet the requirements, we could just do some research stuff. Going good. Glad to see you going multi-platform. Yeah, I wish I had the setup better. I wish I had all my shit set up better. Oh, why is my chat box is fucked up on the YouTube stream? It's over my face. Jesus. Well, this is why we do this, I guess. Fix the errors. So like when I have cam only, it's set up correctly, but then over here it's not. It needs to be right there. Okay. So then when I'm here, it should be good. And then over here, it should be good. Okay. All right, gang. Cool. Yeah, we could just do some research stuff until we have met the requirements. Right? We should. Hello. It's me. Hello, this is me, VIP MTV Hollywood star Skibder. What's up, Skib? How's it going? What's up? What's up, Super Soaker? Yeah, let's do it. We have tons of stuff to get through. Research-wise, in my little research tab, we have so much shit that we haven't looked into yet. So let's do that while we're just kind of hanging out on TikTok trying to meet the multi-guest requirements, right? Unfortunately, you guys on TikTok can't see my screen. But if you want to, I'm also live on YouTube and Twitch. You can go over to either one of those two platforms, and if you want to see what we're working on, the link is in my bio. If you want to go over to either one of those other two platforms, you'll be able to see my screen, see what we're working on. New account? No, it's not it's the same account. But for some reason, TikTok differentiates between whether you're streaming on your phone or streaming from your computer. There's two different sets of requirements for being able to do like multi-guest and stuff. And usually I stream off my laptop like I do on like Twitch and YouTube. But I wanted to take some load off of it so I could stream to Twitch and YouTube at the same time. So I like started I am doing the live on my phone. But apparently there's a different set of requirements to be able to do multi-guests and stuff if you stream off your phone versus off your computer, which makes no sense. No sense. The logic, there is no logic. There's no logic to that at all. But that is how TikTok works for some stupid ass reason. So basically, we just have to stream. We just have to hang out here on TikTok to meet the requirements. We're kind of just waiting. We're doing a waiting game right now. But I do appreciate. I mean, there's 100 people in here literally just hanging out for no reason, even though we're not really doing anything. I do appreciate that. All 100 of you that are just kind of hanging out here for just hanging out with us while we bang out these live requirements. I do appreciate it. You have to go live 3 days on phone because I had to do the same thing. It's so fucking goofy. It's so goofy. Even though, like, yeah, I'd already met the requirements before, but like streaming off my computer and everything was fine. But then I hop on my phone. It's like, oh, you have to redo the requirements. Why? That's dumb. That doesn't make sense. That's stupid. But all right, while we're kind of just hanging out waiting, we will. Do you watch WWE? I used to when I was younger. I don't anymore. I think I probably stopped watching it when I was like maybe like 13 or 14, something like that, somewhere in that general age range. Okay, so we have this whole things to research tab. Again, if you're watching on TikTok, I know you can't see my screen. If you want to be able to see the screen, see what we're working on, the link in my bio. Go to either the Twitch or YouTube stream, link in bio. Okay, so we have this whole fucking list of shit. We wanted to look into like how immigration offenses are categorized based on like every element of it. We kind of already did that on stream one day, like accidentally, but I'll just leave this on here for now. Mainly just because I want the link to the law. Read the Save Act. I mean, we'll get to that. This was this one dude tried to bring this shit up, and I didn't have enough requisite knowledge to counter it. It's WrestleMania Day 2 today. WrestleMania is like a multi-day thing nowadays? Well, all right, fair enough. I didn't know that. This is an interesting thing. 10th Amendment cases. For now, real quick, let's just go through. Let's read the cases that we have. Let's do notes on the cases that we have pulled up here that we don't have notes on. Starting with Beorfa, even though we've already read this case. I think we read this case on stream one day, but we didn't take notes, which was an error. That was a tactical error. That was before I had like my whole like SCOTUS notes thing. We read this case on stream, but we took no notes on it. That was, yeah, tactical error on my part, but that's fine. We'll do it now. Here's kind of like our note formats. We just kind of like bullet point like things that are important to know, and then just like throw the quotes in there with it, right? So for Schneck, we had the ruling in Schneck v. US establishes the standard establishes the standard that for speech to be unprotected by the First Amendment, it must present a clear and present danger. Schneck is an old fucking case, Jesus. And then we have Bridges, same thing. We just kind of general points and then what kind of establishes in there. All right, so we're gonna do it now for Beorfa. So a little Supreme Court read-in today, a little SCOTUS read-in, at least until we have met our requirements on TikTok, and then we'll switch over to streaming on PC so we can talk to some people. If I remember correctly, it started during C19. Oh, like when they had with two like multi-day WrestleManias? Interesting. Okay, here we go. Beorfa v. Mayorkas. What year was this? Do I even have the year written down? I try to write down the year so I can cite to that. Okay, it was 2024. Gang. Amina Beorfa, a U.S. citizen, began the process of obtaining permanent legal residence for Alice Hamayel, her non-citizen spouse, by filing a visa petition with the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service, USCIS. Relevant here, USCIS shall approve a visa petition if it determines that the facts stated in the petition are true and that the non-citizen is the petitioner's spouse. Here's the law it links to, talking about this shit right here. It's for this part. Investigation, consultation, approval, authorization to grant preference status. After an investigation of the facts in each case and after consultation with the Secretary of Labor with respect to petitions to accord a status under Section 1153 Bravo Sub 2 or 1153 Bravo Sub 3 of this title, the Attorney General shall, if he determines that the facts stated in this position are true and that the alien in behalf of whom the petition is made is an immediate relative specified in Section 1151 Bravo of this title, or is eligible for preference under subsection A or B of Section 1153 of this title, approve the petition and forward one copy thereof to the Department of State. The Secretary of State shall then authorize the consular office concerned to grant the preferred status. They're saying if it can be determined that it is true that the alien applying for the petition is in fact a direct relative of the, or actually is a relative of the petitioner, then the petition shall be approved. Boom. Who just sent a gift? I don't like this. I don't like that I can't see like gift history on the TikTok version, or sorry, on the phone version of TikTok. I could tell that a gift, like that when gifts come through, but then there is no history, so I can't like see like who it was and like thank them individually. It's cringe. The phone version, they knocked it so out of the park with like the PC version of TikTok Live Studio is so fucking good. They knocked it so far out of the park. And then the phone version is just like cheeks, bro. It's just ass. It's so bad. I don't understand. It's so cheeks. But all right. We keep reading. Make sure my shit's good. All right. But if the non-citizen has previously sought or received an immigration benefit by reason of a marriage determined by the Attorney General to have been entered into for the purpose of evading the immigration laws, known as the sham marriage bar, the agency must deny the petition. That is very much what this case is about. This case is very much about sham marriage, the sham marriage clause in particular. The reason we're reading this case, the reason it's applicable to any of today's standards, is a lot of like the due process stuff. Well, also it's just a recent immigration case. It was 2024, pretty recent. People like to cite to like recent immigration cases as like evidence of people. I love to like people that I argue with. Well, hold on, let me rephrase. People that I argue with don't cite to anything because they generally don't know what they're talking about. But the ones that do will sometimes cite to this case as evidence, mainly in the Mahmoud Khalil case, as evidence that the Secretary of State can revoke any visa at any time, which is still true, but they're when they do that, they're misciting because this case had nothing to do with like national security revocation. It was because of the sham marriage bar, which is already like enshrined into law. So it's kind of a different thing. So it's good to be familiar with a case like this. So when it gets, it's not so much that I would never really cite to this case to prove any of my points, but it's good to be familiar with it so that if people miscite it to you, if they're like, oh yeah, well this case determined this, you can be like, well no it didn't. I know what that case is about. It's not about what you just said. It's kind of like the other day with that dude that tried to miscite. What case did he try to miscite? Was it? Which case was it that one dude tried to miscite to me? And I was like, no. It was Ludic, wasn't it? It was Ludic. Yeah. That dude tried misciting Ludic to me. I was like, no, motherfucker. We read Ludic. Yo, thank you for the s'mores. HG Nick, thank you for the s'mores. I still don't like that I can't see like a gift history. It's cringe and not good. I don't like it. Not good. Yeah, I don't know how people do that shit on stream. Where I don't know how people like keep up with gifts. It's gnarly. Okay. Borfa argues that although some revocations are discretionary, the revocation here was not. So, Section 1252, sub-alpha, sub-2, sub-bravo, sub-2, Jesus Christ. I thought the reason Khalil was deported was cited as speech according to Rubio, was it not? No, it was, but I'm saying, like, what I mean is people will cite to this case as, like, proof that the secretary can just revoke at any time, which is still a true fact, but that is not what this case was about. So they're misciting even though their overall broad point is correct, they're still misciting, they're, like, misquoting SCOTUS cases anyway. So it's good to be familiar with stuff like this. You could be like, oh, no, that is not what that case was about. Like, that is not an example of your point. Your underlying claim could still be true, but you could be, like, misquoting your evidence. All right, this section does not apply to preclude judicial review. Biorfa contends that once the secretary approves a petition and later determines that the beneficiary had previously entered into a sham marriage, the secretary has no choice but to revoke the agency's approval. Neither the statutory text nor its context limit the secretary's discretion in this way. Yeah, this entire case is mostly about secretarial discretion. I remember Beorfa in this case argued that because the secretary must revoke a person's green card if they find out that they have entered into a sham marriage, and the secretary doesn't always, because something is required. If something is like a required thing and you don't meet your requirement, then that was her basis, or that was her claimed basis for like the reviewability of this case. But when it comes to discretionary stuff, generally it's unreviewable. That's what the Supreme Court ended up determining. Well, I mean, we'll read it, but you'll see the Supreme Court, I think their determination is ultimately that these actions aren't reviewable because they're discretionary. I think. Did you hear Pam Bondi's brother is running for president of the DC board? No, I did not hear that. Why does it green screen out my monster? Hello, TikTok. Why are you green screening out my drink? Stop it. Thank you for the heart me, Mike. Appreciate it. I appreciate. Okay. Contrary to Beorfa's argument, Section 1154C's text nowhere creates an ongoing duty for the agency to continually confirm. By the way, hold up, before I keep reading, I'll say it one more time. I guess I'll probably say it every couple minutes. We're reading SCOTUS cases right now. I know you guys on TikTok can't see my screen. Go to the link in my bio. If you want to be able to see my screen and see what we're reading and see what we're doing, go to the link in my bio and go to either YouTube or Twitch. We're also streaming on YouTube and Twitch right now, and you can see you'll be able to see my screen there. Okay, cool. Contrary to Beorfa's argument, Section 1154C's text nowhere creates an ongoing duty for the agency to continually confirm that its initial approval was sound. Instead, Section 1154C's command to the agency extends only to the point of approval. Turning to Section 1154C's context, Beorfa argues that because a non-citizen may use an approved visa petition to continue along the path toward permanent residency, Congress implicitly requires the agency to continually reassess its prior approval. But nothing in the statutory scheme requires revisiting past decisions of approval. Rather, each stage of the process comes with its own criteria. Indeed, the specific grant of discretion in Section 1155 to revoke prior approval of a visa petition forecloses the argument that Congress silently mandated revocation in certain situations. I remember, it just hit me after reading that section. I remember why I put this case on the research list again. We had already read this previously on stream, but I put it back on the list so I could take notes on it because it was fucking older millennial cited to this case for something. In the Mahmoud Khalil case, because that whole case is revolves around the idea that the secretary can revoke a visa petition for any reason at any time, no matter what. And Section 1155 of the INA reaffirms that. Like, that is the section that says like you can't, or the secretary can just revoke your shit for any reason at any time. And this case kind of limits that sort of at one point. That's why we put this back on the list. I remember that shit. Okay. Well, now that we remember why this is even on the list in the first place, I guess keep reading. Beorfa's assertion that the secretary always revokes the agency's approval of a visa petition if the agency later makes a sham marriage determination makes no difference, because Congress did not make the availability of judicial review dependent on agency practice. Rather, Section 1252 Alpha 2 Bravo 2 bars judicial review of decisions made discretionary by legislation. Yeah, that's the part. That's the part. That's the part that we care about right there. A discretionary decision, because of this section of the INA, Congress made acts of discretion non-reviewable. So if at any point in the INA it says that, like, you know, this decision can be made by the Secretary of State or the Attorney General or something, if it gives any discretionary decision powers at any point to the AG or the Secretary of State, Congress also made those parts non-reviewable. The reason, I know that may create a question in your mind. The reason that Mahmoud Khalil's case in particular is reviewable is because the claim he's making is that it is unconstitutional. The usage of the INA, the particular usage, the way they're trying to use it against him is unconstitutional. In matters of constitutionality, can pretty much never be made to be unreviewable. You can, if kind of like an easy way to think about this is like, what if Congress passed a law that, like, on its face was like super unconstitutional? What would be a good example? Let's say Congress passed a law that said you can, like, no media organization can run any story that is negative about Donald Trump. That, like, clearly that is unconstitutional on its face. But then let's say they added another section where they said, like, what constitutes negative towards Donald Trump is at the discretion of, say, I don't know, like the fucking Secretary of State. Give it to them. The Secretary of State has the discretion to determine what is negative towards the president, and something that he deems negative to the president is not allowed. Well, you could say because the decision for what is negative is discretionary, it's unreviewable. But on its face, it's unconstitutional. It would be a constitutional claim, you wouldn't be challenging his decision, you'd be challenging the constitutionality of it. That can still be reviewed. His decision can't be reviewed. You can't go to a court and argue over whether or not he made the right decision. That's unreviewable. But you can go there and say that the action is unconstitutional. That can't be taken away from the courts. The ability to review matters of constitutionality are locked in. The Congress can't legislate the Supreme Court's ability to review matters of constitutionality. Okay, now that we're done with that quick explainer, we continue. Nor is it unreasonable to suggest that Congress created a system in which a sham marriage determination is subject to judicial review when an agency denies a visa petition, but not when the agency revokes a prior approval. That distinction reflects Congress's choice to provide reduced procedural protection for discretionary relief. Just misreading words that are blatant. Precedent, likewise, does not mandate Beorfa's interpretation. Unlike the discretionary determination at issue in Patel v. Garland, Section 1155's revocation authorizes no threshold requirements to access the relevant discretion. So, Patel does not help Beorfa, finally, because the presumption that administrative action is subject to judicial review may be overcome by clear and convincing evidence of congressional intent to preclude judicial review. There is no need to resort to the presumption of reviewability, whereas here the statute is clear. This whole opinion is just, we can't review this, by the way. And it's on like a statutory basis. They're saying, like, statutorily, we can't even look at this. Yeah, that's kind of the determination here. Justice Jackson delivered the opinion of the court. We love a good Jackson opinion. A common feature of our nation. How long is this case, by the way? The opinion here. It's super short. Okay. Super short opinion. This probably could have been much, much shorter. Even, like, we'll see. Like, I can't remember everything they say in here. I don't know if anything they say in here is, like, super necessary. This could have been, like, a 2-paragraph, like, decision, genuinely. Like, their logic is very sound. It's, you're trying to challenge a matter of discretion. You can't do that. That's it. It's a very simple thing. Very simple. A common feature. Wait, by the way, before we continue, how far are we on these requirements? 6 minutes away. We're 6 minutes. Do we switch over now? Do we switch over and start doing do we switch over to the fucking PC version now? Should we do that? Unhinged Jim, thank you for the heart me, by the way. Do we switch over? Should we switch over? I think we're like really close to the requirements. We're super close. Super duper close. I think we should switch over. I think it's time to switch. Okay. Give me like 2 minutes. Give me like 2 minutes, we'll be back, okay? BRB. Huh. Yeah. That's because I was using the green screen thing. I just have to stream on my phone for a few days. Okay, hibbity hop out. I'm out of here. I was just trying to let you know. I know. I saw your text. But also, when I'm streaming on my phone, don't text me because it fucks it up even worse. Well, I just wanted to let you know it looked really bad. Okay, see ya. Okay. We're going to restart the live on the PC version now. Which also means we'll probably have to switch to full screen on Twitch and YouTube. It super breaks. The reason I'm trying to meet the TikTok requirements, there is a reason. I'm trying to meet the TikTok requirements so I can stream on my phone. Because it ultra fucking breaks. It ultra breaks. My shit on my PC. You'll see. You'll see. It gets bad. It gets gnarly bad. Oh yeah, I forgot. We have to switch over to, my hair's all fucked up now from my headset. We have to switch over to AirPods so we can actually hear what we're doing. There we go. I kind of forgot I can't hear shit if I don't switch over. All right, what's up? What's going on? I'm letting Maggie in. Okay. Maggie. All right. How's it going? Now we can actually bring people up. We just need to stream. What are the requirements? I think we need to stream like a couple more days. Couple more days. Couple more days on our phone, on the fucking mobile version of TikTok Live. It's so fucking dumb, bro. It's so dumb. There is no logic to that at all, by the way. I do not like that shit. That there's like TikTok differentiates between whether or not you're streaming on your phone or your computer. It's so goofy. But we're back on the PC version now, so we can bring people up if people want to come up. The only reason I don't like the only reason I wanted to start streaming on my phone is so my PC will be more free to I'll have more processing power available to stream to YouTube and Twitch, because my background is animated on the Twitch and YouTube stream, and it fucking annihilates my background being animated annihilates my processing power. I don't know. I mean, I could just use a still background and then it would be fine. It would probably fix all my issues, but fuck all that. That's stupid. I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm gonna remove. I'm dead ass gonna. I think I might dead ass remove Beorfa. I might dead ass just remove it. Get a tablet. I mean, I could. Then honest to God, it would probably make me re-meet the requirements again. It would probably make me go through it all again. If I did, it'd be like, oh, this is a different device. It seems to be device specific. Got to get a gamer set up with 4 screens. I mean, I got 3. We're rocking 3 right now. No, because I use my tablet and my phone and my computer for my TikTok. Well, yeah, I'm just saying for streaming. It's maybe it only differentiates between like the live studio like application like on PC and then like the just like streaming from straight from your account. Maybe that's the only difference that gets made. I don't know. It is goofy that it makes a difference at all. I don't like it. It's dumb. But yeah, all right, we're ready to rock. If anybody wants to come up and talk, we are ready to do so. Yeah, I think it's TikTok Studio versus TikTok app. Yeah, it's goofy. Two separate requirements makes no sense. Two separate requirements makes no sense. Why? For what reason? It's goofy. There's no logic there at all. Oh, whatever. Whatever, it is what it is. Yeah, I don't know. Should we... Well, I guess here, we'll just write it like this. For Beorfa, all I'm going to put... I'm not even going to fucking bother going through like a shit ton of notes for this case because it's really only applicable to like a really small subsect of like the Mahmoud Khalil argument. But other than that, like it's not really applicable to anything we really talk about. So I don't need to like go through and take like ridiculously extensive notes. But we will say for Beorfa, the big thing in that case is, let's say, upholds non-reviewability of discretionary decisions. I mean, that's the... Damn, I misspelled discretionary. That's crazy. That's like the big thing in that case. Is just saying, you know, discretionary decisions like this can't be reviewed. And then if we, I guess, like we still have the link to the case there. So if we need to for any particular argument, we can always open that back up and look through it. We can open that back up and look through it. The next one we have on the list is Department of State versus Munoz, which is a case I straight up have never read. Can you explain what this case is about? I've never heard of it. Beorfa versus Mayorkas. Basically, it was an immigration case where a woman had petitioned for a visa for her husband, who she was an American citizen, he wasn't. She petitioned for a visa for him because they got married, and at some point in the process, the Secretary of State determined, or through his discretion, determined that it was a sham marriage. So they used the sham marriage bar, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It's the decision in the case. The decision from the court is just upholding the fact that because the decision to revoke a green card or revoke a visa petition in that way is discretionary. The Secretary of State has full discretion on when he wants to revoke a green card. Because it's discretionary, it makes it non-reviewable. So all they're really upholding was that, like, hey, we can't review this case because it's a discretionary decision. And her argument, Beorfa was trying to argue that it's not actually truly discretionary because the Secretary of State is required to revoke a visa petition if they discover that a sham marriage has occurred, which isn't true. The way it's written in the INA is very clear. Like, it is a discretionary decision. Like, theoretically, the Secretary of State could find out that somebody got their green card via a sham marriage. Like, the Secretary of State could find out, like, this is a sham marriage. Like, this is a green card marriage. That's how it's commonly referred to, like a green card marriage, right? And he could choose to not revoke the green card. He could choose to not do that. So because it's that alone makes it discretionary, therefore it's not reviewable. Boom. Now I get how it relates. Yeah, it relates to Mahmoud Khalil's case. If something is a discretionary decision, like the ability of the Secretary of State to revoke a green card based on national security reasons is a discretionary decision. And discretionary decisions under the INA are non-reviewable. So technically his case would be non-reviewable, but there's I wouldn't even call it a loophole. You can't limit the judicial review. You can't limit the reviewability of constitutional matters. And because his claim is that his green card was revoked for a constitutional violation, a violation of the First Amendment, it probably is reviewable. I mean, SCOTUS will end up having to rule on that if his case ever makes it to them. I mean, I think he's going through Article 3 courts now, right? So if it ever makes its way up to SCOTUS, they'll end up having to make that decision. But generally speaking, matters of constitutionality are not, Congress can't limit their reviewability. Generally speaking. I mean, it's not generally speaking. That is true that Congress can't limit the reviewability of constitutional matters. It's more dependent on if the Supreme Court sees it that way. It's mostly that. It's going to come down to whether or not SCOTUS sees it as a constitutional matter or not. And we'll see how that goes. The last admin broke the law. The last admin broke the law right of the back letting illegals come in, plus they lied. Well, that didn't make sense, that sentence. Do you believe that the constitutional rights protects every human? Yes, every human. It's not even a belief. It's just if you think it's only citizens, it's because you're delusional and you can't read. Or one, it's not or not and. It's one of the two. It could be both, I guess. You're either delusional or you can't read, but I guess technically it could be both. You could be a delusional person that can't read. Boom. All right. Are there any disagreeers that want to come talk? I saw a lot of people shit talking in the chat, and I kind of let it slide for a little bit, but now, no more letting it slide. Come talk. Request to join. Don't be a pussy. Do it. Click the request button. I hope my audio is set up right. Like, if someone does come up, I wonder if I'll be able to actually hear them. Obama did the same thing. Obama did the same thing. Interesting. Obama disappeared people without due process. Interesting. Trump is draining the corrupt politician swamp. Doesn't seem that way. What has he done? What has he done to achieve that? Gitmo wasn't. When you send someone to Gitmo, they still have the ability to file habeas petitions. Therefore, due process. Therefore, you're wrong. But good try. Both parties controlled and owned by the same. He drained the swamp of people that disagree with him. Drone strikes are drone strikes and like command of the military is in the exclusive purview of the presidency. So nope. Try again. You believe these previous administrations have not done the same, not to the same degree. There's always a little. Every president does a little wiggling with the. Every administration does a little interesting wiggling with the Constitution. Hey, can you guys stop fighting? There's no reason for that. Come here. There's no reason for that. Maggie, come say hi to the stream. Come here. Say hello. You may be too young. I mean, we could just read. Like I wasn't born, or I wasn't alive when World War II happened, right? But I could just read what happened during World War. Like I can just read about it, right? So you don't have to have been alive for an event to understand the event. It definitely helps when you were actually there and experienced it firsthand. That's definitely a level of knowledge that you can't get through reading, but you can just read stuff. Maggie, no, come back. I don't want her to go start fighting with her sister. Oh, she's going under my desk. Never mind. But you say constitutional rights apply to everyone. Drone strikes violate this logic. Drone strikes do not violate the logic. Like at all. You're owed due process if you are inside of America or you're an American citizen. The case that everyone loves to bring up about him drone striking an American citizen is definitely a little weird. It's definitely a little weird. There's definitely arguments to be made on both sides for whether or not you still have to give someone the right to due process if you have like really good info. Can I join? Yeah, just request to join and you can come up. If you have like that's like a question that can actually be litigated. It's an interesting question. If you have an American citizen that you firmly believe is engaging in terrorist activity outside of the U.S., can you take military action against them without giving them due process first? It's an interesting question, but who knows? Hold up, my shit's fucked up. Yeah, I know. My shit's tweaking. All right, whatever. How's it going? Sup? You mean like Republicans and Democrats, like like that they're friends behind the scenes? Generally speaking, a lot of like the shit talking each other in public is played up for the cameras. In most of these scenarios, I would be willing to bet these people are probably very, very cordial with each other behind the scenes. Yeah. So that logic just doesn't track because the politicians themselves are probably because I'm gonna give him a second. I was gonna say that the logic doesn't really track that because politicians are probably much friendlier with each other behind the scenes than they are in public, that everything is pointless because of that alone. That doesn't really make sense. Like, decisions still get made on either side, right? So it's worthwhile to talk about who's making the better decisions, whose decisions are going to benefit the country the most. But just because they do a little playing it up for the cameras. Well, I mean, that could be the case, but ultimately you vote for the people, right? So if it is the case that maybe obviously it gets this gets a little more important the lower you go down in like the rungs of political fucking positions, right? Like the more local you take it, the more it matters who you vote for. But even if there is like some level of theater going on behind the scenes where like they're playing shit up and they actually like these people don't actually care as much about what they're saying than they make it seem they do. If that is the case, if there's someone in office that's okay, he left, but I'm still gonna make my point. If it is the case that there's someone in office that you just think is making terrible fucking decisions, then you just vote them out. Just get them the fuck out of there. Get them out. Even if they're just pretending, if it's just theater for them, that's fine. But if they're doing shit if you see them doing shit you don't like, you got to get them out. Why did he leave all of a sudden? Well, it seemed like he had like kids that were trying to get his attention and stuff. So it makes sense. How's it going? Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like everything matters to some degree. Like every level up the rung is important in some degree. But I always just make the point that like the more local you take it, the more you're like. It's not even that the issues matter more. It's more than just that your vote matters more, right? If anything, right? When you're competing against millions of other votes in a presidential election, but maybe in like a state legislature election, you're competing with it's like tens of thousands of votes. So your vote is more important. So you should care a little bit more. Well, you should care the same regardless, but you should just be aware that like, well, you're like the vote I'm going to cast today, Matt, makes an actual difference. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like what was it, the North Carolina Supreme Court election, that the 2024 one that just finally got certified now. I think the difference in votes is like 700. So it's like to say that like no one, like your vote definitely, if you voted in that election, your vote fucking mattered a lot. It came down to like 700 votes to make it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the Democratic states regulated themselves into a fucking black hole that they're now they have to climb out of. Yeah, especially California. California is the most obvious and really easy example you can point to of like don't get me like if you read all the regulation like all the regulatory laws in California, you can very clearly and very quickly see what they were attempting. Like it's like okay, I see what you were trying to do with all these regulations, but you have fucked yourself so enormously that it just wasn't worth it. Yeah, it's just yeah, they it was like voted for by the people. But again, you don't. It's really hard. It's really easy to see what a law is attempting to do when it's like just in plain text. But it's really hard to see what the knock-on effects are going to be until they happen. So you could say like when you pass like environmental regulatory laws, you can see like it's very easy for you to see as a voter like oh we're trying to protect the environment. I agree with that, and you vote yes. But what you don't see is the knock-on effects of like okay well now you can't build houses. Sucks to suck. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Really come out of like the competitive states, right? These purple states. People in the districts where it's like blue for the past 60 years, like Pelosi or something like that. Like she just gets to, like be the party leader and form whatever opinions she has. And I think we give too much deference both on the left and the right to the people that have been in these positions, like the incumbent seats, rather than the people who are at the margins, like fighting for their seats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I guess my question about like the constitutional order is like here's kind of the thing is that let's say we have one party, which was the Democrats for the past like 4 years. Let's assume we go back and forth between like Dems and the Republicans for the next like 20 years, right? And every 4 years, the Democrats let in somewhere between like 10 to 15 million immigrants. And they just go through this like open border policy. They use the asylum process to like flood the courts. You get huge backups in the amount of people that have cases pending. Those people they essentially are able to like come into the country and never leave, get work permits, essentially like bypass the regular process to get an immigrant visa. And then you have the Republicans that come in afterwards, kind of in backlash to the amount of immigrants that have been let in over the past, administration. And they say, okay, we want to make a significant dent in getting rid of these people, but the courts are backed up. It's going to take us, like 10 years to deport like 1 million people, but like 10 million people came in. And they just like everyone's talking about due process now, but when you have a system which is being abused by one party to allow for like one specific policy, and then when the next party is elected in and they want to change they're like elected, right? They have the will of people to do something about specific policies. It cannot be undone because of like blockages in the judiciary.
Yeah.
So like, how do you square the circle and say like, okay, people elected Trump for his like immigration policies. They wanted him to crack down on the illegal immigration that was taking place. We need to deport some people, right? We need to deport like, I don't know, some people, right? That's
I
what
get
we
what you're
voted
saying.
for.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like if you can't do that, if the courts are so backlogged and we can't do that, and like even if we said like okay, like the bill that wanted to be passed for immigration, they were going to hire like 700 judges or something like that. That probably take like 4 years to get done before they'd even hiring, because like hiring is a slow process. You can't do it overnight. You have to find qualified candidates, and that backlog is probably not going to be processed. So like if you're allowing like 10 million people in every 4 years, you're going to essentially like radically change the populace over 20 to 30 year period.
Yeah. Here's what I would say about that. I understand that I understand people like to do this like mandate thing, like, but Trump has a mandate to get these people out, which is the point itself is fine. It's a fine point of like, well, he got elected, and one of the things he ran on was just deporting a fuckload of people, and people still voted for him, so clearly they want it, and that point in and of itself is totally okay. But then I see this dismissal of the other side of the argument a lot, which is fucking hilarious to me. Of like, well, Trump was elected to deport a lot of people. I'm like, okay, well, the other side likes immigration, and so was there no mandate for Biden to let as many people in as possible through the laws that were on the books, which he did. I don't understand the logic of it. So like the difference between the two positions you described. So we can like point out all the different like big points, right? So the big point being, the president has a mandate from the people to do what they want him to do, that what he was elected to do. Okay, well the left likes immigration and the right doesn't. Okay, so Biden was in, he let a lot of people in. Trump wants to get a lot of people out. Okay, same sort of deal. What's the difference? The difference is Biden used the laws on the books to let it happen. Trump's breaking the law to make his version happen. There's a huge difference between the two sides. Letting people in with asylum laws versus deporting people through no laws. Big difference. Two different things.
I just see it as something's going to have to change. There's some like laws are going to be passed. I know that Trump just asked the judiciary to start fast tracking like denials. Is I think that he came out and asked them to do. He's like, if in the first case it looks like they're not going to be able to produce the evidence, like just deny them immediately so we can just move on and move them out. I think it's like Trump's trying to fix like a bigger structural issue, which is like because of what we've done with China, which is like export all these kind of like middle tier jobs from like the middle America to China. We now have this like two-tiered society where like the bottom tier is like service workers. And the top tier is like these educated Brahmin, like tech or, like anybody making like 200, 300 and above. You're in this like above class that's able to consume. And the majority of the consumption in the United States is done through these, through the top like 10% of people. And then you have everybody in this kind of like bottom class who works in services. And these service jobs, like in order to ensure that like wages stay low, of course you need immigrants. You need to bring in as many people as you can to fill these service jobs. That's why, like, if you look at the job growth for the past, like 6 years or something like that, most of the job growth was not in full-time jobs. It was in service jobs. And like almost all the job growth, actually pretty much all the job growth since 2019. So before the pandemic, before that big crash happened, all the job growth has gone to like foreign-born persons coming in on immigrant visas. So like something is structurally wrong, right? Where Americans are not able to find jobs. If you look at the labor force participation rate, it's like it's not creeping up. We have more and more like young men who are like Native Americans who are not able to find jobs, and we don't have good jobs for them. It's either like work in the service industry or like go compete for one of these like few like top tier 1% jobs that you can get, and there's nothing really in the middle. And I think that like regardless of what Trump's trying to do, like it just looks like a chaos agent. We have some like deep structural issues which we have to fix to like fill out the middle sector again. Because if you go back to the 1970s, which is when we started like exporting all these jobs to China, like the amount like real wages, which is like wages after inflation, they haven't risen since like 1970. It's like barely gone up. And so like wages, like everybody knows this, like wages have pretty much stayed the same. And the people that have been able to command these companies that have exported all this labor to like non-U.S. states or non-U.S. countries have really been the beneficiaries of that. And so we've like leaned into tech and financialization and a couple other like high-end industries at the expense of everything else inside the United States. And that's kind of like the core argument of what the Republicans are trying to fix. Whether they're able to do that through their policies, who knows? But at least they have like a definitive thing they want to change inside the United States.
I mean, they do have a definitive thing they want to change, but their solution, it's really weird to see a party that has complete control over every aspect of government. They have majorities in the House and Senate, majority in the Supreme Court. They have a Republican president, and they still can't find a way to just do things legally. It's hilarious. Like, really? You're telling me you can't fucking... The only way you can get what you want to do done is by breaking the law, which is ultra ironic, again, because you control the House and Senate. So if whatever it is you want to do is illegal, you could just make it fucking legal. Unless it's a constitutional violation. You can't do shit about that. But if there's laws in your way, change the laws. You have the power, do it. But they don't. It seems like Trump doesn't really want to. He's just like, oh, I'm content doing things the wrong way, which is I think just speaks to him being a bad leader.
I think the argument that the Dems are trying to make is that like, okay, like Trump wants to deport like 10 million people, right? If you do that, you're going to have like probably a small amount of false positives of people who probably were just caught up in it and like sent away. And so the Dems are using these like hyper specific cases of people to say that, okay, like this one person is probably like in this really like gray area and we can argue all day about it. Like this one person discredits the entire policy of deporting all these people. So like
It's
if
not
this
the
one
outcome.
person,
I feel like that's like a super big. That's like a really bad straw man. It has nothing to do with outcome. It's process. Like I think we're all resigned to the fact that we can all very much understand that when you're trying to do something at huge scales, when you're trying to do something just that. Okay, dog barking for no reason. We're trying to do something at a huge. Okay, hold on. Fucking Jesus Christ! 1 second. Fucking tell her to stop. When you're trying to do something at a huge scale, there's going to be mistakes that get made. It's going to happen. There's going to be people that probably shouldn't have been deported that get deported. That's just how it is. But you are begging for it. You're asking for it. I said those in the reverse order. You're asking for it, but you are literally begging for it when you do the deportations without due process. You're like actually begging for mistakes to happen. You're guaranteeing. You go from like this world where there's probably going to be mistakes. If you give everyone due process, you're probably still going to have some fuck ups. To if you do it all without due process, you are guaranteeing that there will be not some mistakes, lots of mistakes, which is I think the actual issue. Saying that like the Democrats are pissed off because like he wants to mass deport. I mean, like there are people that are mad about like the mass deport. Like I don't think mass deportation is a good idea. There's people that are pissed about that, but that's not like the actual issue at hand. The issue at hand is just give people due process.
well, I mean, the mass deportations is like, do you want to be a country of laws or not? And like, I know this is kind of like,
but I don't think like you get to make that argument. Like I don't think Republicans have any moral ground to make the argument of do you want to be a country of laws, whilst they're like their solution for their whole solution is like, well, we think having all these immigrants here makes this a lawless country, so we're gonna fix it with lawlessness. Like that's retarded. Stop. That's just not how shit works. You're being a fucking dickhead.
Do you know how long like the regular immigration process takes? Like, let's say like you get married to a foreigner and you want to bring her into the United States. Like, do you know how long that takes?
I don't. But the thing is, I gotta make this as clear as I can. I don't fucking care. It's not an excuse. It's never gonna. There's no excuse you can actually think up to just do away with due process. There's no excuse. There can be the argument I make. I make this like this. I do this hypothetical with people where like I think what the number of people like to cite to is like the 10 or 20 million people. Somewhere between 10 and 20 million people got let in under Biden's administration. Fine. I don't know if those numbers are accurate. I don't actually care if they're accurate. Fine. Let's say it. Let me up it. Let's say it was 20. You could make it 200 billion. I know, like, there's not even 200 billion people on this fucking earth. 200 billion people could have come into America under Biden illegally. I still wouldn't give a fuck. That's still not an excuse to just do away with our constitutional with the Constitution. It's just not. There isn't an excuse.
Well, I mean, it comes back to the thing about like what I was saying is like if you have one party that's going to like use specific loopholes to like get people inside the country, and once they're inside the country, it's incredibly hard to remove them. Versus like a legal immigrant who wants to come into the United States has to go through like typically like if they're not on a tourist visa, if it's a work visa or something like that, like it's a 6 to like 18 month or even like 2 to 3 year process to get that visa. So like everybody that's coming through the legal channels is suffering because all these other people who are coming in to like abuse asylum or coming in illegally, they're the people who are really like breaking the law, right? And they make it worse for the people who do want to come through the legal way. And to say like, oh, okay, like we're just gonna bring all these people in, and like once they're inside the country, like okay, due process, they get all the same stuff we get, but everybody else who is on the back end of that, they're really going to suffer because our immigration courts are going to slow down. Like we're not going to be able to bring in the legal people as fast as we need to. We're going to have massive strains on the judiciary, like top to bottom. It's really just a mess, and I think that you have to be a nation of laws from the beginning. And if people are like breaking them when they come in from the get go, like they shouldn't be afforded the same like ability to stay in this country for years and years and years and years that somebody who comes in legally might.
I agree. If you come in illegally, you should be. If you come in illegally, and like there's some scenarios where you could come here illegally and you're just like such a value to the country where I would argue like, okay, we got this is one of these guys, we got to figure out a way to get him some sort of like legal status because he's just too valuable. But for the, like 99% of cases, if you come here illegally, you should just be deported. But the solution isn't deport them lawlessly or deport them unconstitutionally. That's never going to be the case. That's never the solution.
Right, but if you're going, let's say you come in,
There
you come
is
in
no
illegally,
but. This is the problem.
but
There isn't a but.
you file
There's
for
no
asylum.
but.
Yeah, but you file for asylum, and then you're in like a 5-year process to get your deportation order. Doesn't seem like you just crossed
Change
the border?
the laws. Don't break the laws. You understand? Like the party that wants to do what you're saying has control over every aspect of the government right now. There's never been a better time to change the immigration laws if you don't like the immigration laws. Honestly, this is probably the best chance the Republicans will ever get. They probably won't ever get a better chance than right now in this moment to change the immigration laws. But they don't want to do that. They're just doing everything unconstitutionally. It doesn't make sense. It's fucking stupid.
Look, I'm highly dubious of anything the government does. Like anytime they make allegations, because like we all know that they make wild allegations all the time. They can just make shit up. Like the government makes stuff up all the time, and it doesn't really matter if it's like the Dems or the Republicans. Like they will just make stuff up, and especially for prosecutors who like want to bring people to court. We've seen it time and time again. So like I'm really skeptical about all this stuff. Like yes, people should see their day in court, but at the same time, like there is a broken system, and we have to do something about it. And
There is a broken system, so change the fucking. Is that part of what I'm saying going over your head?
No, I agree.
Change the laws, don't break the laws.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Tattoo it on your forehead. Change the law, don't break the law. That's the fucking.
I agree with you. I just hope we don't get back to like another Dem administration 4 years, which goes back to an open border policy and lets in another like 10, 15 million people.
If you have an issue with immigration, instead of like trying to justify why it's okay to violate the Constitution, sometimes you should just be fucking screaming at Trump in whatever state you're from. If you have a Republican in the House or Senate, you should. I think like every state has at least one.
Yeah, but
you should
remember,
just be
like,
fucking screeching at them every day, atting them on Twitter, atting them, fucking sending them letters, like, yo, let's get some goddamn immigration reform up in this bitch. Come on, what are we doing?
yes, of course, and it's going to take bipartisan support to do that, though. And if the Dems just like lock down any sort of bill from getting through, and then we get back to another Dem administration, and they use the executive branch to like open up all the ports of entry again, like that just seems like a little. It just seems a little backhanded.
There's like some argument that starts to bleed up there. There's an argument that like starts to bleed up if the Democrats really are just blocking. If Republicans put forth like an actual good like immigration reform piece of legislation that would have a positive impact, and Democrats just block the fuck out of it, then you start creeping into like a valid argument of like, okay, well these people just don't want to they don't want to get on board, they don't want to help, like we're actually trying to fix shit and they're just blocking us at every step. That you start to bleed into a valid argument, but when they're not even trying, there's been no attempt to pass any legislation to fix anything. It's just, throw people on a plane and send them to a fucking El Salvador in prison with no due process. That's not the way. That's not the American way. That's not how shit should be going down. Here we are.
Well, I mean, we put people in Gitmo for the past 20 years.
And you know what the people in Gitmo had? They had the right to file habeas petitions. Once you're in El Salvador, you're fucked. You can't do shit. If you're a fucking member of, we had like SCOTUS cases of like where they straight up said like, if you are a goddamn confirmed member of ISIS, you still have the right to file a habeas petition.
Yeah, it took them like 25 years. What was the whole enemy combatant thing that they used?
There was like a subsect of the law of like if if a person's an enemy combatant, they don't have to be given any sort of due process whatsoever. And then SCOTUS eventually was like, no, fuckers, that's not how that shit works.
Yeah, that's how it took them like 20 years to get that though, unfortunately.
Took a while, yeah, but we're there.
Yeah.
Which is funny, like, but that precedent alone should be enough to like once that maybe it is the case that all the administrations that went through that was happening under were like genuinely under the impression that they were correct. But once that precedent comes down, like that sets the precedent forever, right? So now it should be pretty widely understood that like, okay, no, if the Americans have you at any point, you have due process rights.
Yeah. Well, it's just sad that, like, I think I remember there being a big conversation in Obama's years about him shutting down Gitmo, and it just dragged on and on and on, and nobody did anything about it. And now Trump wants to use Gitmo for, which again, like, it's just like quite like, it's all hypocritical, right? Like somebody should have shut it down. It's really unfortunate that we still have people there and that, they're planning to like expand it. Like neither party is like really absolved of anything here. And
no, I try not to shit on people too much for campaign promises like that, like stuff like Obama did run on like I'm gonna shut down Gitmo, and then he got in and just didn't. The reason I try to give people some credit when it comes to campaign promises like that, because you don't know, like we are just completely unaware of how shit works behind the scenes. So it could be the case that he really, really, really wanted to shut it down, and then he actually got elected, and some fucking CIA officer pulled him aside, like, let me tell you why you absolutely cannot shut this shit down. Like something like that could have happened.
Yeah, but that's just silly. Like they could bring all those people there and get like back to the United States. They just didn't want to because then they're in the judiciary system and they'd have like habeas and like full rights.
People in Gitmo have habeas, but
yeah, but I mean, they could just house them in like maximum security prisons inside the United States, and we wouldn't have to deal with this thing. We could have shut down Gitmo a long time ago, and then like no president wouldn't have been able to open them back up again. Like it would have not been politically tasteful to do it. Like not 9/11 screwed up a ton of stuff, right? That we're still paying price for.
I'm pretty certain, by the way, just on that point, I'm pretty certain that if Obama had shut it down, or say Biden had shut Gitmo down, and Trump reopened it right now, like half his base, 90% of his base would be, if he was using it for what he's currently using it for like immigration shit, people would be cheering it on.
It's really sickening.
People are cheering on the like sending people to CCOT.
Yeah, like I mean, like I don't know. I mean, I look at El Salvador, right, and it's a different country. It's not my country, and I have to question, like, they were the murder capital of the world, and now they're not. It's like safe. They have tourism now. Like single women can go there and not be afraid of like getting like unalived at any point. So they've really like turned it around, but the way that they did it was quite draconian by like throwing anybody with gang tattoos like in jail. So I don't know. I mean, it's really like turned around the country, but at the same time, like they had to. I mean, they probably had like way more false positives than what we've had so far with these deportations.
Yeah, the reason people make that argument a lot of like, look at El Salvador, look what they've managed to accomplish. The reason we don't even allow these like draconian things to start bleeding into our society, where we start allowing the skipping of due process and stuff, is because think about like the British Empire was the best, the fucking kings of the goddamn universe for centuries, right? But there came a time where the power we allowed, but the power that was allowed to the king started to get abused to a degree that was not feasible anymore. So we had to have a revolution. We had to fucking break from them. If it is the case right now that El Salvador has actually managed to clean up their act in a really in a really profound way. Like you said, a murder capital of the world to like extremely safe that's a crazy change. They did it by allowing their president to have powers that no man should have. And there will come a time. It's nice right now. It's all well and good right now, but there will come a time where that country goes back to shit because they've allowed their leader to have the power he has. And the same thing would happen here. It might be the case that if we just allow Trump to do whatever the fuck he wants and deport whoever he wants with no due process, and we just say, actually, we think maybe we should just actually revoke the Fifth, not revoke, but we should just get rid of the Fifth Amendment. Let's pass a constitutional amendment. Let's get rid of the Fifth. That way, you give the president the full power to just send whoever the fuck he wants to whatever prison, wherever he wants for any reason. That might actually, there's a world in which America becomes much, much better in the short term for that. But I guarantee you in the long run, we will fall apart because allowing our leader to have that much power is never going to be a good thing long term.
Yeah. I will say my friend is a big surfer and he was in Mexico for a long time. And he said there was drugs everywhere. It was just like, it's super easy to get it. He just went to El Salvador like 3 weeks ago. And he said it was really boring. Like you couldn't even get like Mary Jane there. Like nobody had anything. You could just like sit around and drink. It was super safe, like quite boring actually, since they rounded up all the gang members and put them into jail.
Yep. I mean, it's nice now. It won't be forever. That shit's going to fall apart eventually. All it takes, they've established that now they have officially established that giving their leader that much power is okay. There will come a time where someone whose goal is not to just keep the country safe will get elected or will come into power and they will abuse it.
Yeah. Well, I guess when things get so bad like that, like you're the murder capital of the world, like you probably have to make some radical changes in order to do that. And like, it's not going to be easy.
You definitely do. You have to make some radical changes, but the violation of your fundamental principles is never going to be the answer.
Right.
There's other shit. It really just has to be the both sides of the aisle. And we'll come back, coming back to our country right now. If it really is the case that we think there's a problem that is just so fucking it's so bad it needs to be solved right now, then it has to be done. It has to be done the proper way. It has to be the case that both sides of the aisle come together and just fix it legislatively under the Constitution.
Well, I hope
violating the Constitution is just not the answer.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me up.
Yeah. Have a good one.
But
Oh, this will be good. Hello.
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
Good. You're an attorney, I believe, right?
No, not yet. I'm in law school.
Not yet, but you're in law school.
Yeah.
Okay. I just found you the other day from a friend. So, I guess had a question on the due process side. I agree due process shouldn't be circumvented. I agree it's due to everybody. Due process, I think people don't understand there's a big difference whether you're being tried for a felony or in administrative law. It can look very different, right?
Yeah, extremely.
So, with Garcia specifically, he had some removal hearings back in 2019. I guess my question is, if he were brought back today, what due process do you think is owed to him at this point?
Depends on what law they're going to try to remove him with.
Okay, let's remove the Enemies Act. I don't want to say the A word, but and the all the gang stuff.
So he would presumably be being deported under the INA. So whatever statute they wanted to apply to him, it would probably be based on the posturing of the administration right now. They would probably be trying to remove him under like the threat to national security provisions of the INA. So all that would really be required is they would have to reopen his old immigration case, and they would have to prove that there's just a justifiable reason to get rid of his withholding order, which would be really, really easy. I think that would be like a couple days process in court of getting his old withholding order revoked. So let's just assume that portion's already been done. Let's say they reopened his old case and they revoked his withholding order. Okay.
Well, why do you say reopen? Did it get voided at some point, or is it too stale?
No. So as it states, this is all under the assumption. I guess I should have made this clear. I'm going to do all of this under the assumption that they want to send him to El Salvador specifically, because that's where he is from.
So that was part B of my question. So
yes.
Okay.
So if it is the case that they do want to send him to El Salvador, that's where they want him to be. Maybe just on principle, like we sent you to El Salvador the first time. If we're going to have to bring your fucking ass back, we're going to send you back to El Salvador again. Maybe on principle, they want to send him to El Salvador. Because his withholding removal hasn't been voided. It's still there. They would have to reopen his case to get it. They would have to void his withholding from removal order, which, like I said, I think would be very, very easy to do. I don't think they would have any struggles in court getting that overturned. Main reason is because the gang that he cited when getting the withholding order in the first place has pretty much been eradicated from El Salvador now. So all the government would have to do is just show that, like, hey, the gang that he was afraid of is literally gone now. So there's no reason that he needs to have withholding anymore. And presumably the immigration judge would probably overturn the withholding. At that point, all they would have, whatever part of the INA they're going to deport him under, like I said, I assume it would be the threat to national security section. At that point, all they would have to do is give him a chance to contest, and if he either one of two options, he either just wouldn't contest it, and then they would just get a deportation order from a immigration judge, and that would be really easy. Or if he did contest it, they would just have a hearing in front of a judge in which he would say, hey, he would present whatever evidence he has for why he's definitely not a threat to national security, and then the government would be able to counter, this is why he is a threat, and then the judge would make the decision, and he would either be allowed to stay or sent away.
But the standard of evidence would be preponderance, not reasonable doubt. Right?
Yep. It is preponderance of evidence. So the government would probably more than, I would say, when it comes to immigration cases, if the government wants you gone, generally speaking, you're gone.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a different scenario. Let's say they bring him back here and then they deport him somewhere that's not El Salvador. That
they could do it very, very easily.
Doesn't sound like it may even need a hearing if I'm reading things correctly.
If to get that final removal order, you would always need a hearing. So the removal order he was given at the time was to his home country. So you would need two things if you wanted to deport him to another country. You would need two things. You would need an agreement from whatever country, because we can't just deport people to countries that don't want. It's like we can't just start throwing people into Canada. That's not how that works.
Right.
So you would need an agreement from the country. Pick, I don't know, say fucking Venezuela. Say they want. I know Venezuela is really not taking any of our people right now. They're saying hard no. But let's say fuck it, Venezuela agrees to take him. You would need that agreement, and then you would actually, every time you're going to deport him, every time you kind of pick a new country, you do need a deportation order. So, but it would be really easy to get. Again, like I said, it's preponderance of evidence, and I think the government probably has plenty. So he'd probably be gone. Either way, if he does come back, he is gonna get deported again. I don't know why people can't seem to fucking ration with that. People can't seem to rationalize that in their heads. If they bring him back, he will be deported again. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, unless there's some haymaker argument somewhere.
Unless his defense attorney pulls some fucking crazy shit out of her ass, yeah, he's gone.
So all this battle that's going on, so I've read all the 2019 documents on Garcia, and there's actually a great site, CIS.org, the Center for Immigration Studies, and an ex-immigration judge is writing analysis on all this, linking back to the court cases. It's actually pretty good. But for me, there's the old case that's really about due process and did he get it and how much and what's due. Then there's the new case in the federal circuits about the presidential powers and everything else that's going on. And then we've got the public opinion case that's also going on. I guess my question is, can something in that federal level change the facts of the Garcia case? Well, not the facts, but the arguments, or is the due process portion always going to come back and be relevant at the end of the day?
Something in the the Garcia versus Nome case that's going on right now. Are you saying
Exactly.
Are you asking if something in that case could keep him here?
Or if it could fundamentally change, the whole argument in its totality, I guess.
Generally speaking, no, because all the Garcia versus Nome case is really about is whether or not he was given the ability to contest the allegation that he was an alien enemy, because they deported him with that batch, but then it kind of eventually morphed because it kind of was determined that he actually wasn't deported under the Alien Enemies Act. He was deported pursuant to no law. They just kind of threw him on the plane and sent him away without citing to anything. So now it has kind of taken new form, and it has morphed into whether or not the president has the authority to just summarily remove people, which we've already got the answer to that. SCOTUS already kind of cleared that up. No, the fuck he doesn't.
Temporarily, right?
Huh?
Well, that was a temporary pause, right?
The pause that they implemented the other day is for a completely different case.
Okay, all right.
They cleared it up with JGG versus Trump. That ruling was like a week and a half to 2 weeks ago, somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay.
They've already cleared up. The president can't just summarily remove people without citing to anything or without due process of any kind. Like, that's just not a thing that can be done. So we've kind of already got the answers now. Garcia versus Nome, the federal case at least, at this point, all it's really about is whether or not any court has the ability, or not whether or not, it's about how far the court can go to pressure the government into getting him back. We're kind of we're working our way through that right now, whether or not, we're working our way through the question of how far can the court go. Obviously, there's some stuff the court can do, and then obviously there's some stuff the court definitely can't do. That's just the question is, where's the line? Where's the line of how far a court can order the president around?
Yeah, so let's say they flew him back to, I don't know, Homestead in Miami or something, and then they deported him somewhere else. Like you said, I guess they would have to get some sort of court process to do that anyway. So there's no
be very fast. It would be so fucking fast. Like putting him in front of an IJ, starting up deportation proceedings, especially if they wanted to do to another country, because then they wouldn't have to void out his old withholding order. So if they wanted to send him to like a third party country that wasn't El Salvador, it would take. Man, that proceeding would be quick. He'd be fucking in and out of here quick.
And something I didn't realize is that these immigration judges are actually DOJ employees. They're not judiciary branch.
Yeah, the IJs are underneath the executive, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm only asking these questions because I don't understand the strategy that's playing out in the federal courts and from the White House. Because if you look at the underlying case, it seems like there's some, like you say, some pretty basic stuff that could be done with fairly low effort. So
yeah, it would have been really, really easy to deport this dude had they done it the legal way. That's why it's so fucking mind-boggling that they didn't. It would have been so easy to deport him. All of them, really. Like, if the unfortunate truth for some people that people just have a hard time grasping is that, like, if you are here with no legal status whatsoever, if you're not here on a visa or a green card or anything, if you have no actual legal status, it's really fucking easy to deport you. Undocumented immigrants are so easy to deport. Which is why it's even doubly mind-blowing that Trump has opted to do everything illegally, when doing it legally would have been a walk in the park.
Yeah, that's the part I don't get either. And same like this Garcia thing, it could have been put to bed a week ago, and in probably a day or day and a half. I don't understand what carrying on.
Fuck. He disconnected. God damn it. God damn it. Okay, he came back. He re-requested. I don't know what the fuck just happened right there.
It said you booted me.
Oh, really? What the fuck? Okay, well, my bad. Continue on.
I was just kind of agreeing to your point. This could have been over so long ago and saved so much angst in the general public if they just ran it through the due process and removed him again. You know.
Yep, it would have been really easy. It's fucking goofy.
And then that's what I think should happen. I'm only asking these questions just out of mental exercise, I guess. So,
Yeah.
but cool. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking me, and thanks for answering the questions. I think you and I couldn't be more on the same page. So good to hear that perspective. So,
Yeah, of course. Have a good one.
you too. Take care.
Yep, they're Article 1 judges rather than Article 3. Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, Article 3 judges have very little to do with immigration. Like, Article 3 judges will generally never get involved in any immigration anything unless there's a claim of unconstitutionality. That's when they'll step in. When there's some sort of claim of unconstitutionality, Article 3 judges will they'll put their foot in the door and say, hey, what are we doing over here? Boasberg's a good example of that, right? The DC District Court case, JGG versus Trump. I mean, obviously that's gone all the way up to SCOTUS now, but like that case is a good example of like they would have never gotten involved with that at all, generally speaking. But because there's a matter of constitutionality underpinning the entire case, that's when they step in. Unless Congress uses the exception clause to restrict that type of case. Even so, sometimes Article 3 courts will still step in when there's like a blatant unconstitutional matter. Generally, Congress doesn't have too much authority to restrict review of constitutional matters. So if something is like a blatant First Amendment violation, even though they might have some restrictions upon reviewability, like the INA is a good example. I was talking about it earlier. The INA is actually a pretty good example because there's a lot of claims of unreviewability in the INA. Basically, anything that's up to the AG or Secretary of State's discretion is completely unreviewable under the INA. But if it's used in an unconstitutional matter, or if it's used in an unconstitutional manner, then the whole prospect of unreviewability kind of goes out the window. All right. Does anyone else want to come argue it out? By the way, if you're in the TikTok right now, click the follow button. Click the button. Let's gain some more followers on the day. We're probably going to... Sammy Jean, thank you for the follow. Thank you, I appreciate it. I wonder what we should do for this shit. Okay. I'm in an interesting pickle here. Maybe I'll let you guys help me decide. I'm in a bit of an interesting pickle here. I think because I went back and forth, because I pulled the whole fucking schizophrenia thing and went super back and forth. Are you sure about that? Last time the exception clause was used, it was to stop a court from ruling on if a detainment was constitutional during Reconstruction, at least the last landmark case that I remembered. Yeah, it kind of goes both. It kind of goes back and forth. Like there are manners in which Congress can restrict reviewability, but ultimately, when it comes, like if what is being done, how do I explain this? It's, I think, a good example of like a similar concept. It's not the cases aren't the same, but a similar concept is Trump v. U.S. Right? Trump v. U.S. is like a good sample case to point to of like theoretically you could imagine a world in which the president uses his like preclusive powers in a completely unconstitutional manner. Like the president could use a power that is core and exclusive to him very unconstitutionally, but it still wouldn't be reviewable. Even though it's a constitutional matter, it's still not reviewable because the power itself is a core Article 2 power. Same thing. The same thing kind of goes for Congress. When it comes to like core powers of one of the other articles, either a core Article 1 power or core Article 2 power, the constitutional question kind of goes out the window. And generally stuff is completely unreviewable if it's core to whatever branch. But when it's a delegated authority, The reason I use the INA as an example, the INA is a really good example because it's a delegated authority. The INA is a law passed by Congress that delegates all power over, like all the power under that law is delegated over to the executive. Therefore, any constitutional matters are going to be reviewable. It's that delegate. Once one branch is delegating power to another, I mean, it's always ends up being Article 1 to Article 2. Once Congress is delegating a power over to the executive, if the executive chooses to use it in an unconstitutional manner, it's going to be reviewable every time. But when it's core, the president could theoretically, like ordering the military. This is a great example, right? Ordering the military is a core power of the president. But you could see a world in which the president orders SEAL Team 6 to assassinate an American citizen. That's probably going to be completely unreviewable. Even though it's a clear constitutional violation, you absolutely violated the fuck out of that person's Fifth Amendment rights, whoever it was. Clear violation, but it's going to be unreviewable completely. Well, the exception clause is just weird since it handles appellate jurisdiction rather than the original jurisdiction, which was only ever restricted with the 11th Amendment. Looking into like weird jurisdictional matters always gets weird. Generally, if you want to know, like, if you want to, if you want to try to think of like the best, what would you call it, like the Steelman scenario of whether something's reviewable or not, I would always just say just look to the Supreme Court and determine whether or not SCOTUS could review it. Because yeah, there's definitely some cases in which like a district court can't review something and a circuit court can't review something, but then like SCOTUS could. You get into it's weird territory. I always just jump to SCOTUS of like, could SCOTUS look at this? And then that gives you a pretty good general idea of whether or not it's reviewable. And SCOTUS places a lot of the limitations for reviewability. SCOTUS places on itself. Like they limit themselves pretty heavily of whether or not they want to review. They think that they're able to review stuff or not. Like the Trump v. US is a good example of that again, where it's just like SCOTUS, the limitation of not being able to review core presidential actions came from SCOTUS itself. They limited themselves in that regard, where they're just like, no, it wasn't Congress limiting the Supreme Court on reviewability. It was them limiting themselves. They're like, fuck you, we're not looking at this. Well, doesn't the exception clause include the limiting of Supreme Court appellate jurisdiction? I feel in some cases, I feel like, but let's look. Let's look it up. I'd have to actually, I don't think I've read this shit in so fucking long. Let's read the precise language. Stop. Okay. Unlike the Supreme Court's original Article 3, provided the court's appellate jurisdiction is subject to exceptions and regulations prescribed by Congress. Congress and the court have constructed this provision. Probably it's so case by case. In McCardle, yeah. It's going to be so case by case is the problem, because ultimately you could see a world where the Supreme Court just overturns stuff on constitutionality or on a constitutional basis, right? I think they have in the past. I think they've explicitly done that, where there's like, yeah, I mean, we were told we don't have jurisdiction here, but we actually think we do. Fuck you. Or like US, yeah, they even have an example in this US v. Klein, where there's SCOTUS was like, actually, we are going to look at this. Fuck you. Yeah, the jurisdictional arguments always get fucking super wonky between Congress and SCOTUS. It's an eternal battle. SCOTUS and Congress will always be arguing back and forth over what the fuck SCOTUS has jurisdiction over. But honest, Congress can limit SCOTUS more than the other way around, generally speaking. Like, I wonder, here's a question. I wonder if, like, it seems to be the case that, like, pretty much everyone on the Republican side is ultra fucking pissed right now. Ultra pissed about the court stepping in and preventing some of these deportation measures. I wonder if Congress were to pass a law, I wonder if Congress could get away with passing a law that revoked the jurisdiction of SCOTUS to look at any matter of immigration. I wonder what their response to that would be. Let's just like let's war game this, right? Let's all just think it out. Let's say tomorrow Congress passes a law that just says on any matter of immigration or deportation, there shall be no judicial review whatsoever. Just absolutely none. No judicial review on any matter of immigration or deportation. I wonder what SCOTUS's response to that would be. I wonder if they would if they would stand for that, if they would let that slide. Just sit there and be like, okay, well, shit, I guess we don't have the authority to look into any of this stuff anymore. Congress took it away. Or if they would just say, no, you absolutely can't fucking do that. We can still review matters of constitutionality, okay? If you're violating people's Fifth Amendment rights blatantly, we're still gonna rule on this. I wonder. That's kind of one of those cases where, like, I would be curious to see how that played out, but I also don't want to. I would be curious to see how it played out, but I don't want it to happen because, like, the result could be so bad. If, like, SCOTUS, like, stood for that, like, if they're like, oh, shit, well, I guess they got us. I guess they got our ass. Seems like we don't have jurisdiction over any of these cases anymore. That could be, like, really bad. Because now you're actually letting yourself. You'd be getting pretty deep into authoritarianism there. I don't think it's worth the risk just to answer a kind of goofy question. That's what I'm saying. Well, theoretically, under that clause, they could strip almost all jurisdiction from SCOTUS and relegate them to merely original jurisdiction based on the plain text, which I doubt they could. That's what I'm saying. Like, you'd be in such a bad world. But I feel like, oh man, I could see that. Let's say if that actually happened, if SCOTUS, or sorry, not if Congress passed a law like that tomorrow, I could actually see the end result of that going both ways. Where SCOTUS just like, yeah, okay, well, I guess we're just relegated to just simply original jurisdiction here. I guess we'll just go fuck ourselves. Can't really look at any of this shit anymore. Or they would fight back against that. I don't know. All right. Listen, click the follow button if you're sitting in the TikTok stream right now. Okay, we're gonna hop on out of here. But click the follow button. We'll see you tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. Short stream today, mainly because nothing's happening. Nobody wants to come argue. That's fine. We'll hippity hop out of here. Also, I have stuff I need to work on. So where else is he live? I'm live on YouTube and Twitch as well. The links are in my bio on TikTok, but we are gonna hop off. So, oh, thank you for the follow, Master Liberty on Twitch. All right. It's been fun. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Have a good one. See you later. See you later. Bye. See you later. Bye. Bye. See you later. Bye. Okay, that's TikTok gone. Now, Twitch and YouTube. Twitch and YouTube. I'll see you guys later. I got stuff to work on. I gotta get all my... If we're gonna start streaming on Twitch and YouTube now, I gotta get, like, all my shit fixed on those platforms. Like, my graphics and stuff. Like, look, this is such a boring scene. Look at this. Look how boring this fucking scene is. I mean, I do have this scene. This is a less boring scene. This is a much less boring scene. Same with this. Much less boring, but, like, the background being animated and shit makes my stuff lag so bad when I'm not... when I'm streaming on TikTok as well. Theoretically, though, we shouldn't have to do that for much longer. That should be like that shouldn't happen for as long. But all right, I'll see you later. Peace out. Bye bye.